I don't know the name of the effect I'm trying to achieve, neither do I have a description for it, so I'm just gonna play it. Basically, what I want to achieve is that our mesh remains on top of a base mesh and always moves along it and orients itself in a manner that's always perpendicular to the base mesh. So I tried a lot of combination of nodes, then I went to my best friend for some advice, ChatGPT, but that wasn't working either. So I went to the most wholesome website on the internet, Reddit, where this amazing human named David Torno gave a solution for my problem. So basically, I'm making a tutorial on his method. He's a great guy, visit his website and let's get into it. So the first thing that we're gonna do is that we're gonna create our base mesh. Base mesh is basically the mesh on top of which our mesh will always remain. So I'm just gonna create a grid, give it like a million rows and columns, then add a mountain node, adjust the amplitude and the element size to your satisfaction, and finally add a normal. Give it a null and let's call it base mesh. Now step 2 is to create a point. This is the point we will copy our original mesh on. So create an add a point, then add a transform node. We will use this transform node to move our moving mesh, and finally add a ray node. Now get your base mesh and plug it into the right input of the ray node. Now connect your ray node to a time shift and offset the time to 4 frames forward, basically by typing $f plus 4. Now get your base mesh, add an attribute blur and blur the normals. You can give it 4 to 5 iterations. Now finally get an attribute triangle, place the ray node in the first input, time shift into the second input, and the attribute blur into the third input. So there are basically 4 things that you want to do. You want to set the anchor point, we need to calculate the z plus axis, we need to sample the normals from the base mesh, and finally we need to convert those vectors into quaternions. For doing that, we're going to paste in this code. If you want an explanation on how this code works, let me know in the comments and I'll make a video on it. Finally, get a copy to point and plug in our attribute triangle into the right input. Now let's create our moving mesh. For that, I'm just going to create a mesh of myself. You can create any mesh you want. Finally, add a math size node and connect it to the left input of the copy to points. Now get a null and let's call it final. Now we're going to use the initial transform I talked about earlier. We're going to use that transform to move the point, and as you can see, our mesh moves along it. So now our moving mesh remains stuck on our base mesh and it orients itself with the movement in such a manner that it always remains perpendicular to the base mesh. So that's it. Go ahead and enjoy. Again, a huge thanks to Mr. David Torno from fentrafx.com. Go check out his website. Go check out his tutorials. He's an amazing dude. With that said, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.